Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Sahara Omar. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist currently practicing here in the state of Texas. Today's video, I wanted to address the importance of two different types of connections that every one of us tend to seek as a human being. On an average, I always recommend to any of my clients in general that you do want to pay attention to both connections equally, so that way you are staying grounded as a human being. Okay, so let's walk through the diagram here. The first connection that we need is a vertical connection, and then the second connection that we seek as a human being is a horizontal connection. Vertical connection helps us stay connected to ourself, right? So this is where I recommend, do you have a connection with God, someone bigger than you that you answer to as a human being? We cannot just answer to ourselves, because at the core, as a human being, we can be very selfish if we answer only to ourselves. But if we answer to someone bigger than us, we tend to be less selfish as humans in general. So for me, I recommend at times to my clients, I ask them, do you have any vertical connection? What would that look like? Did you grow up with God? Do you know God? Some people grew up in houses where God was not introduced to them at all, right? And even if they grew up with God, they grew up with a God that their parents expected of them, so they never learned how to form that connection and maintain that relationship, right? So for me, I identify as a Christian, so my relationship with God is in Jesus Christ. That's who God is for me. The way I maintain that relationship ongoingly is through reading his Bible, understanding who he is, what he expects of us as a human beings as well. Other ways that you can stay connected to God as well, outside of just reading the Bible, is being around community, right? Connecting with other people that also worship similar to what you worship can sometimes help you stay connected to God, because it can inspire you to form that relationship. But the relationship itself is still your responsibility, is still your core, I would say, job to continue to build on that relationship and seek him out for yourself as well, okay? And then we have horizontal connection. Horizontal connection is connections that we have with people or animals, things that are on our same level, meaning things that are on earth rather than outside of earth, right? So with connections on a horizontal level, it helps us grow as a human being, right? So we do need a sense of community, a sense of like a connection with a purpose, right? That can help us give back to life and for us to enjoy life in the first place, right? So we do need to consider, like, would I do it through my career path, or would I do it through creating my own family, or even connecting with my own family as well too, right? So getting remarried or marriage in general, having kids, having pets, having friends, having a job or a career path, all of that is a horizontal connection. When we have to actively, similar to the vertical connection, seek it and actively move in a direction where we are forming these connections as well, okay? So when I meet people in therapy, they show up in three different ways. I typically meet two different types of people, but the third option are available usually, but I don't meet them first. So I'll explain to you guys what I mean by that. So let me get my marker here. Yep. All right, so the first type of people I meet is people that do not have any vertical connection. That means most of their energy and focus is on that horizontal connection. So they do not know how to advocate for themselves and set boundaries with people and show up for themselves in a healthy way, because logically, right, like if you just see this diagram, they are pulling away from God, so they are pulling towards this way. All of their focus and energy is towards other people. People like this, usually what happened to them growing up is they either grew up with a lot of chaos, or people abandoned them before. So they have abandonment issues, for example. There is this sense of, or people that, like I said, that didn't grow up with God, right? So there is no awareness of like, hey, I can also be alone and I can also take care of myself, and that doesn't mean something is wrong, and I don't have to constantly be around people and constantly give myself on a horizontal level as well too, okay? So people like this, usually I challenge them to set boundaries, learn how to be alone again, learn how to form a connection with God, and an extension connection with the self, so that way you can trust yourself and you can understand that you being alone is okay, nothing bad is going to happen to you, okay? So that's what that process looks like. And then the other type of people, which is rarely they come to therapy, unfortunately, right, is people that do not care about horizontal connection or don't have any horizontal connection, but they have some sort of a solid vertical connection. So individuals like this, whether it is through God or not, they are in a space where they don't just care about connecting with people. Some people are naturally like that, where they're fine if they have a plant or two, they have their own sense of purpose, maybe a job, but they don't care about forming a sense of community. So what their struggle is when they come to therapy is because somebody else challenges them to come to therapy. Either their family worries about them, that they are not creating their own sense of marriage or a family in that way, like getting married and having kids, or friends will push them, right, to come to therapy. So that way they can address why they are alone all the time. In a sense that it's missing this sense of like, they are missing this sense of like, maybe I should connect with other people. Maybe I should build a bigger connection within the horizontal space, right? And it's okay if you are a loner and you don't care about people, but it's still a challenge, right? Like you're missing out on that experience of just getting older with people and having fun with human beings. And because human beings can be fun. I know there are some people that are very dysfunctional, but majority of people are okay, right? Like we can still form that healthy connections with people as well. Okay. And then the third option, so people like this, for example, I challenge them, let me go back. People like this, I challenge them to get out of the comfort zone, right? I recommend a website like meetup.com. That's a good website to see if you can connect with the community based on the hobbies that you like. If they are religiously oriented, I would ask them if they have explored, like within their religion organization, any groups that there is available that they can join. Stuff like that, right? Like I would ask them what their hobbies are. When was the last time you called your friends? Do you know how to maintain friendships with people and connection with people? Basically, I'm trying to help them understand what's that thing that's getting in the way for them to form those horizontal connections, okay? And then we have the third option, which is really rarely I meet in therapy, because this person usually is struggling a lot. So people that have no vertical connection and they don't know God again, whether they didn't grow up with him or they just don't know him on a relational manner, and then they don't have any sense of purpose or connection horizontally with people. They don't have animals, for example. This person ends up at a hospital, most likely, usually, meaning like they are spiraling internally all the time, unfortunately, because they're not grounded in anything, right? They don't feel good within themselves, and they don't have other people that can hold them accountable in this way too, right? Meaning like that form of connection is missing. So people like this, usually they end up, like I said, in a hospital first. And then after they get discharged from the hospital, they go to a place called IOP, Intensive Outpatient Care, essentially, or program. Those programs usually run anywhere from like 9 to 12 weeks. Sometimes it goes up to 24 weeks, I've seen as well. And basically those programs just teaches them the basic skills to kind of come back to who they are and start to become a little bit more anchored with a community or with God, and kind of ask them questions around. Usually they ask questions around what are you naturally good at? What is your purpose? What can you give back to the world and community in general? So they get challenged on a superficial level, meaning like they don't go deep addressing traumas and why they are spiraling all the time. So, and then eventually once they complete the IOP program and they kind of get a little bit more grounded in themselves, then they come to therapy on an outpatient level, because I work in an outpatient center, right? So we don't do any like crisis management in an outpatient level. So then I get to kind of meet them and then talk through a little bit what they've been through, and kind of sift out, are they still struggling with a vertical connection or horizontal connection, and kind of challenge them a little bit, like how do you start forming these on a deeper level and why this was missing in the first place, okay? So I hope this video helped. My question for you guys is, which one are you struggling with? Are you struggling with your vertical connection, or are you struggling with your horizontal connection? And also, I'm going to encourage you guys to challenge yourself. Whichever connection you're struggling with, it's okay. You just need to continue to move forward and form that connection. You have to seek it, right? It's a little bit of work where you are either getting to know God and who he is, or horizontally you are forming connection with people and getting out of your comfort zone, putting yourself out there a little bit more, and see if that helps forming those connections as well. Okay. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you liked it. I'm going to ask you guys to subscribe and like and also share it with other people. I truly appreciate you guys. Take care.